mind calling him out. What is your plan for the future? Can we get that in writing and on paper so that we know where you're going? Because we don't have anything today. We have zip, nada, and knowing where you're going. You could talk percentages, you can talk about whatever you want, but unless this committee sees dollars and cents and where you're going and what your plan is, then we may reconsider what you need to do to go forward. Give us the details.
Congresswoman, we have the details and we will provide them.
Then let's have them and my hope is that we could get to it before we go to a markup within a few hours here today.
Liberal lights into Republican leadership. And it's about time someone did. Because today we're talking about a moment that shook up Washington. Congresswoman Rosa DeLauro calling out the Pentagon and exposing just how deep the GOP's double standards on defense spending really go. If you haven't seen this yet, buckle up. This wasn't some polite policy discussion. This was a full-on reality check for a system that's gotten way too comfortable asking for billions of dollars with zero accountability.
Is in fact critical to the United States national security and military readiness.
Very critical.
Okay, so yes, thank you, and we agree. They'll continue to be a critical asset to deter adversaries, sustain the advantage we have in undersea domain, and the Defense Department should continue to support these programs. What is the status of the department's investments in submarine programs?
14% increase in FY26 on the Columbia, and a substantial increase in the Virginia as well. So we're ensuring a submarine industrial base that has been left behind, that has been neglected, is fully invested.
We have funded the submarine base
on funding the submarines.
More than half, and you can go back to last December, but I want to move on. Do you know where our submarine production currently stands, and whether current production is sufficient to bridge the gap between current fleet size and projected need?
There is a gap, but we believe we are closing it, ma'am. Yes.
And if you can get to us the information about how, in fact, that you can close that gap, because we do not have any information or data that can substantiate what you're saying. Your department's initial budget proposal includes incremental funding for the Columbia-class submarine. Is that going to raise alarm bells across the defense industrial base by signaling a lack of commitment to the program?
No, we could not, ma'am. We could not be more committed to Columbia. The centrality in the triad, ensuring it delivers on time, it's central to the deterrent and the base of the United States.
Do you know how much of a financial hole this will create for the defense industrial base? Will there be a financial hole for the defense industrial base in 2026?
Certainly not based on our projections. There is not a hole. We're investing in Columbia robustly.
Okay, without numbers, it's my understanding the department is planning to move $3.1 billion for the Columbia class from 2026 and spread it over 2027 and 2028. This creates a serious problem for industry in the short term and hampers shipbuilders' ability to reach an adequate production rate. Have you been in contact with Electric Boat or with Huntington Ingalls about your plans?
Almost every day, our Deputy Secretary of Defense, alongside our Secretary of the Navy, are actively engaged with all of our shipbuilders and shipyards to make sure their needs not only are being met, but their shortfalls are being addressed so that we can close that gap in real time, which has existed.
So that you can really lay out for us the information and which we would like to get, this committee needs to take a look at, because I know you believe that submarines are important, as I do, but getting the specific information about where we stand, what the production rate is, what gaps there may be. We're willing to listen to all of that because, in fact, in contrast to what your earlier statement was, we have, in fact, supported mightily the submarine industrial base from this committee. That has not been neglected. Do you have a plan for making the investments necessary to ramp up submarine production to the necessary elections? I would just tell you, as part of the December continuing resolution, Congress included $5.7 billion for the department to put out to put on contract for 2 additional Block 4 and 1 Block 5 Virginia-class submarines. The Navy advised members that these funds were required to be placed on contract by February of 2025, yet the department did not put funding for the 2 additional Block 4 boats on contract until April 30th. So do we have a plan? Do you have a plan for making the necessary investments to ramp up submarine production to the necessary levels? And what is that plan?
Ma'am, first of all, I want to thank this committee for the flexibility alongside FY25 and the continued resolution.
Well, I would hope you would thank this committee for the funding that it had made.
Submarine industrial
we have made a
base, and we have
serious investment. So your first statement is inaccurate. We have focused squarely on submarines, and we're now want to know where that is going and what your plan is for the continued advancements to meet production levels and make sure that that is an area that's covered for our national security.
Ma'am, I fully acknowledge the investment this committee has made in shipbuilding, and the challenge is our department under the previous administration squandered a lot of that by
Please,
not
I want your plan. I've had difficulties with the prior administration, and I don't mind calling them out. What is your plan for the future? Can we get that in writing and on paper so that we know where you're going? Because we don't have anything today. We have zip, nada, and knowing where you're going. You could talk percentages. You can talk about whatever you want, but unless this committee sees dollars and cents and where you're going and what your plan is, then we may reconsider what you need to do to go forward. Give us the details.
Congresswoman, we have the details and we will provide them.
Then let's have them before and my hope is that we could get to it before we go to a markup within a few hours here today.
Now, let's talk about what just went down. Rosa DeLauro, a Democrat from Connecticut, didn't walk into that hearing to play nice. She walked in armed with facts, frustration, and something we don't see enough of in Washington, backbone. She grilled Pentagon officials over their vague, evasive answers about submarine production. And let me tell you, she exposed just how hollow those talking points really are. The issue on the table was simple, but the stakes are enormous. The future of America's submarine fleet, a critical piece of our national defense. But more than that, this hearing revealed something deeper about how power operates in Washington. Because what DeLauro was really calling out was the culture of trust us, we've got it handled, that both the Pentagon and Republican leaders love to hide behind. When Secretary Hegseth, representing the Pentagon, was asked about submarine production numbers and timelines, he couldn't answer directly. Instead, he tossed out percentages. 14% here, a substantial increase there, but no actual data. No receipts. No plan. And DeLauro wasn't having it. She pressed him again and again, asking for the hard facts. Where is the money going? What are the production targets? How are we closing the gap between the submarines we have and the submarines we need? And all she got in return was political spin and bureaucratic noise. That's not oversight. That's obstruction dressed up in official language. See, this isn't just about submarines. This is about trust, about how the Pentagon, often with the silent approval of Republican lawmakers, continues to operate in the dark. They ask for billions of dollars every year. They talk about national security, deterrence, and military readiness. But when you peel back the layers, they can't tell us exactly how that money is being used or whether it's even solving the problems they claim it will. And that's why DeLauro's questioning mattered. Because she didn't let them hide behind vague commitments or the failures of the previous administration. She said, in essence, we've given you the money. Now show us the results. And that's what patriotism actually looks like. It's not waving a flag and pretending everything's fine. It's holding your government accountable when it fails to meet the standards of transparency and responsibility. What's incredible and infuriating is that the Department of Defense is moving $3.1 billion out of the 2026 budget and spreading it into later years. That's money that was supposed to go into building new, nuclear-powered submarines, a key part of maintaining our defense advantage. Instead, that shift leaves shipbuilders hanging, delays production, and hurts the working-class communities who depend on those jobs in places like Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Virginia. Let's call this what it is: budget, sleight of hand. It's the kind of accounting trick Republicans would scream about if it were used to fund health care, student debt relief, or climate programs. But when it's the Pentagon, they stay quiet. That hypocrisy is exactly what DeLauro exposed. Republicans love to brand themselves as the party of national security, the defenders of the military. But when it comes to actual oversight, when it comes to asking tough questions about waste, inefficiency, or corruption, they vanish. They treat the military-industrial complex like it's beyond scrutiny. Meanwhile, Democrats like DeLauro are the ones doing the real work of patriotism, demanding that every dollar is spent wisely, that every promise is backed by a plan, and that the people's representatives actually get to see where their money goes. Let's be clear, this isn't about being anti-military. It's about being pro-accountability. Because when billions of taxpayer dollars disappear into the fog of defense contracts and bureaucratic excuses, that's not security, that's exploitation. And the consequences are real. Delays in submarine construction don't just mean production slowdowns. They mean vulnerabilities. While China and Russia are ramping up their undersea capabilities, the U.S. can't afford to stumble. But that's exactly what happens when the Pentagon fails to plan, and when Republicans choose loyalty to the system over loyalty to the truth. DeLauro didn't just challenge the numbers. She challenged the mindset. She said plainly, if you want funding, you need to show your work. That's what congressional oversight is supposed to look like. That's what the Constitution demands. And in a time when so many politicians prefer posturing to governing, Rosa DeLauro reminded everyone that leadership isn't about sound bites, it's about substance. It's about defending the American people's right to know where their money goes and ensuring that our government serves the people, not the contractors. That's the kind of patriotism we need more of, the kind that stands up, asks questions, and doesn't take spin for an answer. So if you believe in real accountability, in strong oversight, and in a defense policy that protects both our nation and our values, then share this video. Let people see that demanding transparency isn't weakness, it's strength. Like this video, leave a comment telling me what you think about DeLauro's takedown, and subscribe for more in-depth progressive analysis. Because this fight, the fight for truth and accountability, is just getting started. And remember, real patriots don't just salute the flag, they protect what it stands for.